Hello, everybody, and welcome to a webinar on AIOps and how AIOps builds scalable AI-driven network operations today. And every word here is quite crucial because we're going to be talking about, obviously, AIOps, but we're not talking about the theory, the sort of high level view and vision. We're going to talk about how it's really how it can be deployed and how it has been deployed today, and what is the plan of how to develop it in the as we go along in the future, and how AI enables it, and how that changes network operations. I am Monica Paolini. I'm your host. And I'm an independent analyst, and you can track me down here. Okay, let me briefly introduce the topic. The issue that we have is that operators are very good at running networks. However, there is a lot of inefficiency in there. There is a lot of money that we're leaving on the table where we could improve things. So networks are running well, but they could be run better in a more efficient way, and improve the customer experience. And in this context, adopting AI is not an option. It's not a nice to have or something for the future. It's really necessary for improving efficiency. However, said that, there is some sort of there are great expectations out there, but also there is a sense that we are not quite as far as we wish we were. And if you look at the image here on the side, this is not from telecoms, it's just for the whole enterprise market out there. You can see that everybody is adopting AI. Everybody's trying their best, and yet very few, 7%, have full-scale deployments. Everybody is trying to catch up, and 62% are either experimenting or piloting. This is, not odd and not problematic in any way because it's a new technology. But what makes our webinar today stand apart is that we're talking about a commercial deployment. So we are up in the dark purple area of the graph. And so what we're going to be talking about is what are the challenges. First of all, why in the first place you want to have AIOps? What are the opportunities? What are the challenges? And what are the initial results? And here I would have to say this is an initial result because it's still early days, and so there is a lot of improvements in the same way that you deploy 5G, but then there is a lot of improvements that go into before you go to 6G, the way to think about AIOps is that it's not just a side add-on. It's a new execution and control layer for automation. So it's built into the automation path, the TM Forum 1, and the way to really think about it, I think, is to think about putting together the power of AI and human expertise together. And it's only when you get the two of them together that you're going to be able to reap the benefits of AI. And I am privileged to have excellent speakers today. We have Carolina Garces Zapata. She is the Service Operations Center Manager at Claro Colombia, where she is responsible to basically make all the customers happy. And she's looks at administration and assurance for operations. And she's looking, making sure everything in the networks works well. And then we have Herman Perez Trozzi, who is the VP of Product and Marketing at Equal Networks. And he is specifically working on network automation. And Fabian Aranda at Viavi is the AIOps solution architect. And they have been working together for quite some time now. The project we were going to be talking today was featured as a Catalyst project last year in Copenhagen at the TM Forum conference. And the next version will be available, will be presented next year in June. What we're going to do is the following. We are going to, this is the flow for the webinar. We're going to start with Carolina, who's going to tell us more about what they're doing at Claro. And then Fabian and Herman will talk about AIOps and their specific solution. And then we'll have a Q&A and a few conclusions. Said that, we are ready to get started with Carolina, who's going to tell us what they've been doing at Claro Colombia, and what they learned from the AIOps commercial deployment. Carolina, over to you.
Thanks, Monica. Thanks for the invitation today. And let's begin by setting the context for why this topic is so critical for today's telecom operators. Communications service providers are operating in an environment of high complexity. Networks are evolving rapidly, traffic demands continue to surge, and customer expects seamless, real-time service experience across mobile, fixed, and converged networks. At the same time, operators must manage increasingly diverse architecture, cloud-native deployments, and tighter regularity expectations. Internally, organizations are facing their own pressures, cost constraints, operational efficiency demands, and skill lack that make traditional manual operations no longer sustainable. While operators have started adopting analytics, automation, and AI-driven assurance, these initiatives often remain fragmented, improving isolated domains but falling short of delivering true end-to-end operational transformation. In this webinar, we will explore these operational challenges, examine the solution emerging today, and discuss the steps required to move toward more autonomous, scalable, and resilient network operations. Our focus will be on how end-to-end incident automation can create the bridge between network performance, customer experience, and operational efficiency. Please, next slide. Before looking at the solutions, it's important to clearly understand the problem we are trying to solve. Today, CSPs face the perfect storm: rapidly growing complexity, an explosion of devices, diverse SLA-driven service, and limited end-to-end visibility across the network. Traditional KPI often fail to reflect real customer experience, and data remains siloed among different platforms and domains, making cross-domain correlation difficult, slow, and highly manual. This leads to delay issue detection and slower remediation. As a consequence, MTTR increases, customer perceived service degradation, and churn and NPS decline. Regularity bodies are also adopting new crowdsourced measurement framework, meaning operation must now comply with experience-based standards, not just network-based metrics, as always. Operational efficiency is also compromised. Manual process increase errors, delays, and operating costs. Experts' knowledge becomes a bottleneck for multi-domain correlation, and incomplete insights can drive poor investment decisions, increasing CapEx and OpEx. These challenges highlight the need for a fundamental shift from reactive to proactive, automated, and customer-centric operations. Our solutions unifies customer-centric insights, AI-driven automation, and cross-domain visibility. We leverage advanced artificial intelligence and machine learning to detect network degradation before it impacts our customers, automate root cause and resolution with minimal human intervention. A key differentiator is our integration of real customer experience data with traditional network telemetry. Instead of viewing network performance in isolation, we correlate with what customer actually experience, prioritizing incidents based on real impact, not just technical alarms. We also generate a multi-domain, multi-service, multi-vendor topology for a full end-to-end service tracing, identifying failure points that may affect availability and performance. On top of this, our closed-loop incident management strategy enables fast, effective, and cost-efficient remediation, forming a scalable foundation for next-generation autonomous operations. Our business impact in this end-to-end automation strategy offer measured benefits: faster time to resolution, reduced customer impact, and consistent operation at scale. By combining proactive detection, AI-assisted remediation, and customer prioritizing, operators decrease MTTR, reduce false alarms, and better target network investments. A standout outcome is up to 76% reduction in third-party operational cost for NOC and SOC activities. Automations minimize manual effort, lowers dependence on external providers, and optimize resource allocations. With end-to-end visibility and closed-loop automation, operations become more resilient and scalable, supporting increasingly digital and experience-driven service. As we wrap up this section, I'd like to share how Claro Colombia is moving forward in this journey toward more autonomous and intelligent operations. What you see here represents the strategic next steps that will allow us to escalate automation and strengthen our ability to detect, prevent, and resolve issues with even greater precision and speed. The first pillar is anomaly detection by identifying unusual patterns or deviations from expected behavior in real time. We can surface early indicators of service degradation long before they translate into customer impact. This gives us the ability to react faster and with higher accuracy. Second, we have predicted detection, where artificial intelligence and machine learning models help us anticipate potential issues before they occur. Instead of diagnosing a problem after it happens, we can proactively intervene, protect service quality, and minimize disruptions, especially in high demand scenarios. The third element is taking action with agents. Here, virtual agents automatically execute predefined resolution steps, validate conditions, and update workflows. This significantly reduces manual effort, minimizes errors, and accelerates incident handling, allowing our teams to focus on higher value activities. Finally, proactive customer communication enables us to inform users about potential service impact or ongoing issue before they experience them. This not only improves transparency, but also strengthens customer trust and reduces support costs. Together, these capabilities form the foundation of Clara Colombia's next phase of operational evolutions, one in which automation, intelligence, and customer centricity come together to deliver a more resilient, efficient, and proactive network operation model. This is the path that will enable us to scale, adapt, and continue leading in service quality and operational excellence in Colombia.
Thank you, Carolina, so much. It's great to hear what you guys are doing and not only what you have been doing, but also the benefits you are getting. So now let's move to Fabian and Herman, who are going to tell us what's behind all of this. What are the building blocks? So Fabian, over to you.
Thank you, Monica, for the invitation as well. It's a pleasure to be here sharing our experience. Here, I want to start explaining why adopting TM Forum standards is relevant and also present three highly relevant concepts, which are AIOps, CLADRA, and autonomous networks. For service providers, adopting TM Forum autonomous network standards really matters because they provide a common roadmap for how to modernize operations in a structured and realistic way. The first concept here is AIOps, which is a standard approach for applying AI in telecommunication operations. AIOps plays a key role on making autonomous networks evolution possible. How? AIOps uses AI and advanced analytics to process large amounts of operational data, alarms, metrics, logs, topology data, and automatically detect issues, correlate root causes, and even predict problems before they happen. But it is important to mention that AIOps is just not analytics. It is a decision engine that feeds closed loops and drive actions in the network. So here is where Cladra comes in. So Cladra describes how closed loop automation is designed and executed by connecting data, analytics, decision logic, and policies to ensure that automation is not a black box, but something that is governed, explainable, and most important, repeatable. And the last concept that I want to mention here is autonomous networks maturity model. So when we talk about autonomous networks, we're not talking about turning everything into AI suddenly, but TM Forum framework defines clear maturity levels from level 0 to level 5 that describe how automation evolves over time. Next slide, please. I'm going to go deeper into AIOps, which is a very important concept. So AIOps, or artificial intelligence for network operation, is really about making actionable the massive amount of data that telecom networks generates every day. The reality is that service providers deals with huge amounts of data from the network, like inventory, topology, alarms, metrics, coming from multiple domains and vendors. And in reality, people and traditional tools cannot process all this in real time, or at least in an efficient way. Therefore, AIOps use machine learning and advanced analytics to continuously analyze data and turn it into actionable insights. For example, creating a ticket, executing automatic actions, or triggering workforce activities on the field. So as you can see here, AIOps fully automates the whole process by enabling, as I said before, automatic ticketing, monitoring, alarm correlation, anomaly detection, forecasting, and identifying the most likely root cause of an incident, which is one of the most important things when reducing mean time to repair, for example. So all this reduces noise, troubleshooting time, and make things happen faster. So AIOps also enable a shift, like Carolina described it before, from reactive to proactive operation. So, for example, instead of waiting for alarms and customer complaints to raise, AIOps can predict degradation, comparing normal network behavior with abnormal behavior. And this allows operators to fix issues before impacting the service, which has a direct impact on the customer experience and SLA compliance as well. So AIOps reduces manual effort, but automating repetitive tasks and guides engineers toward the right actions. And when it is integrated with closed loop automation, AIOps not only detect problems, but it recommend actions to be executed. Next slide, please. So let's focus now in Cladra. So Cladra stands for Closed Loop Automation, Anomaly Detection and Resolution. And this is a TM Forum concept that explains how automation should actually work in autonomous networks. This means that instead of relying on scripts or isolated automation tools, Cladra provides a structured and standardized approach to building closed loops that can operate across multiple domains, technologies, and vendors. So Cladra makes possible for automation to be predictable and repeatable. And this is because data is continuously collected from the network, then analyzed. Decisions are made based on intent and policy. And finally, actions are executed automatically. And the outcomes are feedback to the loop to validate them and then learn to make it better. It is important to highlight that every step on this loop is well defined and governed in a way that operators can trust the behavior of the automation process and scale it safely. And at the end, what it's going to do is to avoid the need or replacing the lead for relying in manual intervention in the network. So actually, Cladra is one of the most powerful tools to reduce OpEx because it automates the whole process. And at the end, it reduces in a significant reduction in the time to detect, resolve issues in the network. So another important concept is that Cladra enables operations to move, as I said before, from reactive to proactive. So in this case, a closed loop can detect degradation and trigger corrective actions. So closed loop automation, it is a capability that it's needed to be able to evolve to autonomous networks maturity level 3, where service providers are no longer experimenting with automation, but they are operating in a constant cross-domain closed loop execution and getting measurable business impact. Now, Germán is going to talk about the last concept, which is the autonomous networks maturity model. Please, Hernán.
Thank you, Fabian. The objective of this maturity model is not to rank operator, but to provide a common and structured language to discuss network autonomy in real complex environment. Autonomy evolves progressively across 3 core dimensions: the level of AI and automation, how intent is defined and enforced, and the role of humans in the operational loop. At autonomous network level 2, operations are assisted. Automation platforms continually ingest metrics and events received via telemetry from the network. These inputs are correlated to provide operational context, and closed-loop automation already exists at this level. When predefined conditions are met, the network executes deterministic remediation action. A behavior is predictable and rule-based. There is no intent evaluation and no autonomous decision-making. Humans design, validate, and maintain the automation, but execution does not necessarily require human intervention. At autonomous network level 3, autonomy becomes conditional. AI is introduced to classify situation, assess service impact, and evaluate operational context. Actions are validated against explicit service intent and operational guardrails, including SLA, threshold, and policy constraints. Here, the actions themselves do not change from level 2. What changes is how the decision is made. Humans intervene primarily for exception, escalation, or policy-based approvals, not for routine operation. At autonomous network level 4, the network reached high autonomy. Intent becomes the primary control mechanism. AI operates with full network topology and service context, combining real-time telemetry with inventory and configuration data. Again, the possible actions are similar, but the decision model evolves. Humans are not longer part of the real-time execution. Their role shifts clearly to governance, policy definition, and continuous improvement. You may notice that level 1 and level 5 are not included here. Level 1 represent basic scripting and isolated automation. It's a necessary foundation, but it's not include intent or autonomous decision. Level 5, on the other hand, represent a fully autonomous, self-evolving network at the ecosystem level. Today, this level remains largely conceptual and not achievable in a real brownfield environment. It's a North Star. In each network domain, RAN, fixed access, mobile core, IP core, telco cloud, so on, you measure autonomy slightly differently. Due to time constraint, I will focus in a simple example in the IP core, just to understand the main idea. At the level 2, the network detects a degradation by correlating metrics and events received via telemetry, traffic, for example, and execute predefined deterministic remediation actions, such as changing a BGP route weight, shutting down an interface, or applying a predefined QoS policy change. At level 3, the network supported by supervised AI evaluate the service intent, SLA impact, and operational guardrail, and decides whether those same actions are allowed to be executed autonomously. At level 4, the network, driven by AI-based decision-making, optimized the IP core autonomously, evaluating multiple options and selecting the optimal action based on business priority, SLA objectives, and cost constraints. Next, please.
Okay, now we're going to be talking more about the approach that Viavi and Equal have been following. And again, Fabian and Herman will walk us through it.
Thank you, Monica. So here, I would like to say that one of the biggest challenges that telco service providers are facing adopting AIOps, it's to know which are the components that enable AI-driven operation without adding unnecessary complexity or creating overlapping. So in this slide, we can see the key components that enable AIOps. As you can see, the architecture is modular to be able to fit in many ecosystems where some components might be already present, and also to be able to be deployed in phases, enabling maturity evolution. So the first one is network inventory. AIOps network inventory establish reliable, up-to-date record of the physical and virtual network resources and their logical and physical relationships. So it becomes a single source of truth, which is critical for accurate analytics, correlation, and automation, of course. On top of that, we have network topology, which is end-to-end visibility. AIOps network topology maps how network elements connect across multi-domains, multi-vendor environments, for example, from RAN, radio access network through transport, and core. By combining inventory configuration and performance, you can enable real-time visualization of the whole service path to identify service potential degradation, for example. Then we have network performance assurance, which adds near real-time intelligence, analyze KPIs across different domains, detecting degradation, support troubleshooting, and enable the continuously optimization of the network. And this one feeds into the next one, which is service quality assurance, where raw KPIs are translated into service level KPIs, which is an extremely important concept of tracking the service quality instead of the network quality. and this help us to understand how this is impacting the customer. Now we have network fault management, which reduce operational noise on events. For example, the duplicating alarms, correlating alarms, accelerating root cause identification. This information flow into the next component, which is incident management, where events are traduced into actionable incidents and give you full context to follow the resolution process. Finally, we have machine learning and network automation, which are the components that close the loop. Machine learning enables anomaly detection and forecasting, for example, while automation workflows trigger notifications and corrective actions. So together, these components enable end-to-end service visibility, proactive management, and most important, closed loop automation. So another component, another relevant component is network orchestration. And I'm gonna let Germán to talk about this one. Thank you.
Thank you, Fabian, again. At this point, the natural question is, how do you actually make this journey work in a real network? For me, a real telco network is like a training motion. You need to introduce change into a highly complex system while it keeps running. Downtime is not an option. This is where AI-driven network automation and orchestration at scale with governance become critical. This slide shows the role of MAT framework as orchestration layer between observability, business system, and the network itself. On the left side, you see observability, telemetry KPIs, alarms, logs, proofs, all coming from multiple network domains. Solutions like Viavi Nitro play a critical role in collecting, normalizing, and simplifying this data at scale, providing high quality and real-time network insight. That observability layer is essential, but it's only one part of the end-to-end architecture. The other challenge starts after visibility, how to turn insight into control, predictable, and governed action. This is where MAT comes into play. MAT abstracts network complexity across multiple domains and vendors, providing a consistent execution and governance layer through workflows, closed-loop policies, CI/CD pipelines, and controller configuration management, while taking into account real-time network state and operational standards. At the north of the architecture, the platform integrates natively with business systems such as ITSM, CRM, billing, BI, workforce management, and AI agents, leveraging industry standards like TM4 OpenAPI, MEF, and MCP, while also providing the flexibility to build custom APIs to support legacy system and in-house development. Together, Viavi Nitro and MAT enable a closed loop that starts with high fidelity observability and ends with governed execution at network scale, aligning operational actions with service and resource intent and business objectives. MAT combines telco-native automation capabilities with self-service features for building and evolving use cases. This allows operators to start fast with proven use cases while retaining full control to adapt and extend automation as the level of autonomy matures. Platforms like MAT are not about automating the individual tasks. This is what is enabling Claro Colombia to move from assisted operation to governance AI-driven closed loop in production. More importantly, it is changing how they operate. Processes are being redesigned from the ground up with the confidence that with platforms like MAT, they can automate faster, safer, and at the scale.
Germán, thank you so much, and thank you, Fabian, and thank you, Carolina. It was an excellent, excellent presentations of your experience at Claro and how Viavi Nitro has supported it. Now, there are a few questions here for you. And I would like to start with Carolina. Maybe you can tell us what is that you found surprising? What is it you learned in the process of deploying AIOps in a network where you went from architectural design to real production in an environment that is complex and multi-domain? What did you learn?
Okay, Monica, what surprised us most was how different things look once automation hits the real world. On paper, everything seems clean and logical, but in production, you deal with data gaps, legacy systems, inconsistent process, and different teams working at different speeds. We realized quickly that the technical architecture was only half the challenges. The other half was aligning people, process, and data across many domains. Once we created that alignment, the automation performed exactly as expected. But getting there required a strong collaboration and adaptability.
Yeah, well, thank you so much, Karina. And let me move to Herman now. You know, as Karina said, when you go from theory to or design to reality, you find a lot. But also when you go from standards to actually developing a solution. So obviously standards and openness sounds like a great thing, but it could also be an abstract concept. Does it really matter when we talk about AI and scaling?
Yes, thinking this way, from an executive perspective, standard and openness are what makes automation and AI scalable and sustainable, not just deployable like for a single project. This matters because if you apply this concept, you can decouple network automation from vendors, from domains, from specific tools, and you will be able to avoid lock-in. This also enables governance, consistency, and repeatability, which are mandatory at the telco scale. This also allows automation and AI to evolve over time without re-architecting the network every time you need to create or deploy a new use case. Without open standards, automations remain fragmented and it's hard to scale. Without the scale, results in the telco are not meaningful.
Yeah, well, thank you. And well, let me move one step further. And obviously, standards create a sort of a basis so you can deploy multiple operators. But Fabian, maybe you can tell us, I'm sure not only Clara learned a lot, but you guys learned a lot too as we were going through the process. What is that we can learn that can generalize to other operators that might have a different size or different needs?
Thank you. So I believe it's extremely important to set up the basics, which is be able to consolidate multiple data from multiple sources, and meaning network domains, vendors, because this is going to be the first step in this journey. It is key to simplify the current operational processes, because otherwise you're going to keep multiplying. If you start automating, what is going to happen is that you are going to start multiplying those inefficiencies. So after setting the basics, next step, it would be to optimize processes. And then the next step, and actually it is the one that move you from maturity level 2 to 3, is to enable full closed loop automation, which is where you are going to start having efficiencies, real efficiencies, reducing manual effort, and being able to have a much more simpler operation and getting much more better results.
Yes, that's crucial. Now, we have been talking mostly about the technology, what goes into it, what are the enablers, but you know, there are humans too in this whole process. There are teams working together, making sure everything works. So, Carolina, how is that AIOps changed the way your teams, your internal teams work together? You need to go beyond silos. They need to be operating differently. What did you see as the main changes?
Once AIOps began showing insights based on real customer impact, not just network metrics, it changed how teams worked together. Network, IT, and customer operation started using the same information and speaking the same language. Instead of each team focusing only on its part on the network, everyone began focusing on customer experience as the main priority. That shift created faster decisions, smoother collaborations, and much more unified way of solving problems.
That's actually very interesting because it sounds like the more you automate, the more the things that are important take the center stage. So sometimes it goes counter the narrative that automation makes the network less personalized and humans less relevant. It just changes what they do. And so actually, Herman, maybe this is sort of leads to a different question in terms of understanding the progression here. So you talked about the different layers in different levels of automation. How do we move to the next level?
Well, you mentioned before, and also Carolina, our experience with Claro Colombia show that AI maturity is as much cultural transformation as a technical one. Our role at iQual Network is not to impose a recipe, but to work very closely with the teams of Claro Colombia and also with our partners, aligning automation with the specific needs for their business, the network, and the operational reality, the true brownfield. Every year, new technology trends emerge. We are all part of that. Often presented as the next silver bullet, and it will solve anything. Our focus is not on following trends, but on what actually delivers measurable implements to the network and the operation. That means delivering solid, interactive solutions, learn from the errors, and move fast. And from that point, deploy in the production network. Sadly, too often, some service providers spend more time debating which use case to choose than investing that time in execution. Luckily for us, Claro Colombia and Viale is not the case. We are moving very fast and with very focus in the customer and in efficiency.
Excellent. And you mentioned focus on the customer, which is often, again, you try to implement things well, and the customer you kind of forget about them in the process. So Fabian, maybe you can tell us how do we go from getting all the data that is out there, which is data, numbers, to actually the perception of what you're getting, which is really what we care about. We use the data to understand what the customer wants, what the customer is getting. How do we go from one to the other with AIOps?
Yeah, and here, Monica, is where I believe Claro did an amazing job last year in this evolution, because they have this specific challenge about making sure that the customer was receiving a excellent quality of service. The key here, it's what they did, that was connecting data actually measured on the customers, in this case using crowdsourced data, and feeding this information to the AIOps solution, where all this data is analyzed, network inventory and topology is used to identify where there might be issues impacting the customer, and then drive actions onto the right people to be able to resolve the problems faster. Like Monica said, with avoiding for one team trying to put the problem into another, but making sure that once the problem is identified, is going to be quickly resolved by the right team. And this is where all these solutions make a significant difference, but fully automating this process. And I'm sure that this year, in the second phase of this project that we're going to do again with Claro Colombia and with Equal, we're going to get much better results.
And a very final question, which is, Fabian, maybe you can say, and then you can, the rest of you can also chip in. What is that a potential mistake that operators should be trying to avoid?
Yeah. So I believe this is a extremely important question, Monica, because the reality is that conceptually you might know what to do, but in reality, as you go through this process, you realize that there was always a better way to do it. So for example, I would like to mention a few things. For example, make sure that you are going to prioritize the adoption of AI where it matters the most, where you have more impact, where you have more activities that are going to allow you to reduce more effort. Another thing is what we have been discussing in this webinar, and it is extremely important to adopt or to follow a standard framework to be able to speak the same language with other companies and make sure that whatever you're doing is scalable. Reducing complexity and make this as simple as possible is the key. Many times you bring a complexity to this process, many times disconnected with the results. So it's important to keep it simple. And the last one, choose not just a solution to go through this journey, but I call it an automation partner. So it's going to be a company that help you to go through this process. And not just give you a solution and then you have to figure it out, all these things on your own. That would be my advice.
That's very interesting. Carolina, Herman, do you have any advice for operators?
I've been there, I used to work 15 years in a service provider, so I know this is tough. Like I said before, it's like a training motion. You need to do a lot of things at the same time. The ARPU is reducing, the costs are increasing. You need to train your people, the technology in your network. You never shut down the legacy equipment, because sometimes there's always some customers in some part of your network. But you need to create an ecosystem of partners, work together, very honest, very closely, and you need to include the error like a part of the process. Fabian also mentioned that. I'm not talking about an outage in the production, okay? I'm not talking about commit an error and the customer suffer the consequence. I'm talking about try again and try again, and give tools to the engineers. When we're talking about the scale, we are talking about we need 100 or 200 people working in this at the same time, at least. If you go on site to Claro Colombia, you will be able to see hundreds of people working on this. Okay, this is not a project. This is not a project for one area, 20 engineers, 30 engineers. We are talking about all the CTO and IT also working in this project together, learning. And again, there is some errors like a part of the process, but it's more important to move fast than do the things perfectly.
Absolutely, and making mistakes is the best way to learn. You can't possibly learn if you don't get something wrong at some point. So, Carolina, you want to add something here?
For me, the main key to avoid a mistake in this process is aligned the company, the business with the properly cost and invest in the tools, time, and different resources that you need to implement a solution sustainables for the business.
Excellent. So let me follow up here with some final concluding remarks very quickly. I think it was an excellent presentation from Carolina of what's happening at Claro Colombia. And this was a commercial deployment and where they introduce automated operations, advanced observability, and there's a move from reaction to being proactive. That makes a whole difference. Because it allows to leverage the data to make decisions and then eventually improve the customer experience. And all of this is grounded in the work that the TM Forum has done on autonomous networks that provides a very good framework for all the operators to move forward. But when it's all said and done, you need more than the different levels. You need to have introduce network orchestration to make sure that all of this kind of works together. And works together not only to deliver performance, to improve the customer experience, but also to create value, to reduce OPEX and MTTR, and overall improve operations. So I hope that you found it interesting as I did, that you learned, but it's not over. You can get more information. We will have a transcript of this webinar, and there is a lot of other resources. Scan the QR code and you will be seeing all of this. Again, thank you so much for listening to us, and hope you found it interesting. And thank you to all the speakers, Fabian, Herman, and Carolina.